Hi, I'm going to be doing a mini-teach on probability and statistics, and we will also be going into understanding data, whether it's qualitative or quantitative. For probability and statistics, basically the basic definition of statistics is understanding large data and putting that into smaller numbers. You really want to focus on the smaller numbers first. That's how you get into you can make assumptions on the bigger issue. There's two types of statistics, categorical and measurable data. Categorical, I mean, if you think about it, it can be anything considering gender, hair color, pet, literally anything you can put into as a gender that you can put into as a category. Measurable data, this kind of ties into the activity from my lesson. You'd be spinning a spinner 40 times, and prior to that you'd be making predictions on what would happen with each spin, how often each spin would happen, and basically just making predictions. You'd record your data, and you compare and contrast what you made and what you thought would happen. It's very important to do that. And this is also where probability comes in. I mean, that's all probability. After the activity, they're going to analyze the data and just look at what happened there and compare and contrast. And there's two types of data. We're going to get into that. Qualitative and quantitative. We're going to first get into quantitative. Quantitative is basically just numerical data that can be measured. That is mainly the entire activity. The goal of this is to learn how to analyze data, and realize that you can draw conclusions based solely off of this. It's very important to do that. You got to know the correlation between data sets and probability. Kids, we really want them to learn how to be able to look at a set of numbers and kind of be able to make a statement just about that. Qualitative. Now we're going to get into qualitative data. This is just categorical, kind of just like measurable, or immeasurable, I'm sorry. For example, a couple examples of this is kind of your favorite color, birthdays in the month, pets. Anything you can throw into a category. It's kind of a broad statement. There's a lot of things that can fall under that. And with all this being said, this ties into random and non-random portions of data. So, random, this is going into a grocery store and taking a poll. So you can send out questionnaires to everyone and try and get an answer. I think a good idea of random is kind of jury duty. You can kind of correlate that into your lesson. Just everyone kind of has a chance of getting picked. A non-random ideal is more strategic. You can kind of think of like a company that sells men's hair dye. They're going to target men. I can't imagine they would target women. They make the biggest profit imaginable, so they're going to be targeting who they want to have their product. So this is somewhat stereotyping people into their product. That's why it's not non-random. You can transition this into why statisticians are pretty important with what they do. Literally everything I just mentioned, statisticians take into account. All of that. I really liked Dr. Kidd's reference to Moneyball when he talked about this in class. It was a bad franchise. They didn't have enough money to pay for the big players, and so they had to go out and think differently for everybody. And I don't know, ended up changing the game and think about who was the most effective, who was the cheapest, everything like that. I don't know. I really like that reference, and yeah, all right, sounds good. Thank you. That was my mini teach, and have a good one.